What's up, it's Cinema Shogun here, and as I reported to you all yesterday, there was a big Senate hearing, in fact, the first Senate hearing, that has to do with this East Palestine, Ohio train derailment. And you know, it was kind of a big deal, and we got a lot of useful information out that hearing. But you want to know what I find odd? During this hearing, there was another big meeting that had something to do with East Palestine, Ohio, and the chemicals from the train derailment. I don't know why, but for some odd reason, they scheduled these two events basically at the same time. So while everyone is paying attention to the Senate hearing, and you're listening to Alan Shaw, the CEO of Norfolk Southern, basically dodge questions and what have you, there was an even more important meeting going on with farmers from East Palestine and farmers from all around East Palestine. They all had this big meeting to discuss if their crops are going to be safe, if the soil is safe to farm. They met with the EPA, they met with other officials, and guess what was revealed? Now, mind you, remember, they're telling the people of East Palestine that you're safe. The water's safe, the air's safe, live your normal life. Meanwhile, now they're having to conduct tests within a 5-county radius, not 5 miles, not a 5-mile radius, a 5-county radius. They are everywhere within 5 counties, supposedly collecting soil samples to see if these farmers are going to be able to tend to their crops, if they're going to be able to plant their vegetables and do what they need to do. Now, this is scary. 5 counties. And you have to look at the response and the reaction to this situation overall. Anything they're willing to tell us, you can go ahead and bet that it's probably 4 or 5 times worse. So when they say, hey, we got to travel as far and wide as a 5 counties length, right? Then you could bet that there's probably people affected within a 10-county radius, if you ask me. I don't put nothing past these people, and I know when they give us tidbits of information, it's to appease us. And I mean, the information we're getting isn't good. But I can guarantee you the only reason we're getting this information is because there's some way worse information hiding behind the scenes. You know what I mean? So they have this meeting and they're talking to farmers about their crops. Farmers are talking about how their livestock are out there eating this grass and they don't know if the grass is safe. Meanwhile, these cows are still going to get slaughtered and the meat will still travel all around the United States. You might be at Outback tomorrow night eating a nice, healthy, well, not healthy, steak from East Palestine or a surrounding area whose farms and soil has supposedly been tainted by these chemicals. Or you would think they would have been. You know what I mean? So that's scary. And I want to dive into this article and get a better idea of what's happening here. But first, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button. It is totally free. We need to get the likes up on all of these videos. So if you're here, you enjoy the content, smash that like button. It's a free way to support my channel. And if you want to take it one step further, you can share this video anywhere and everywhere. That helps my channel out a lot. But let's see what they have to say. East Palestine farmers discuss impact of train derailment on livestock and crops with state and federal leaders. The EPA and Norfolk Southern will be collecting soil samples on farms and properties in a 5-county area around East Palestine. You know what? Let's go ahead and pause right here. Let's go ahead and end this right here. The EPA and Norfolk Southern are the ones that are going to be conducting these tests. Have we learned nothing from this ordeal? The EPA and Norfolk Southern are the ones conducting the test in East Palestine. And every single independent scientist and independent researcher that comes in this area is saying the exact opposite of what the EPA and Norfolk Southern are saying. So I feel like these tests are kind of pointless. Because do you really think they're going to come back and be like, hey, we found out that 5 counties, all the way 5 counties down the road, they can't even plant their vegetables this year. They're not going to tell people that. They're not going to tell people that unless they have an agenda behind it and they want to claim people's farmlands, which that doesn't go over my head. Throughout this whole discussion, throughout these past couple of weeks while discussing this topic, it does not go over my head that one day they may fake chemical spills and stuff like that just to claim land that they really want. Now, if the EPA and Norfolk Southern are the ones conducting these tests, then the results mean basically nothing to me. I understand that people still want to see them and they may mean something to someone else, but they've already lied. And they've lied countless times in the past. One of them I always bring up, they lied during 9/11. They lied and said that downtown was safe. People went down there. They breathed in all of this stuff, and then they got cancer. They started dying. They started getting sick. So these people have a history. It's not just me like, oh, I'm being skeptical of a government agency. That's not why I'm so skeptical. I'm not skeptical just for the sake of being skeptical. I'm skeptical because I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm skeptical because they have lied countless times in the past, and we all know that. And it's not hard to find the details about that. Do your research. These people lie time in and time out. And then they've already been caught lying multiple times during this train derailment, this current train derailment situation in East Palestine. We already figured out that they weren't testing for things they should be testing for. We already figured out that they were putting plastic bags over the air quality testers in town. So we know that they have not been fully transparent. They have not been honest. They've been giving out botched data and information. And they've already been called out on it. And now we're supposed to trust that they're going to travel as far as 5 counties away and conduct real tests and provide us with real information. I don't believe it. But let's go ahead and watch this clip real quick, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
Just outside East Palestine, farmers met in Salem, Ohio today to learn of the impact the derailment had on their livestock and crops. This as the busy planting season is about to begin. Emma Henderson was there, and here's what she learned.
The U.S. EPA will be collecting anywhere between 60 and 300 samples on farms and properties in a 5-county area around East Palestine, testing for chemicals related to the derailment and subsequent controlled release.
It's, do we have a problem? And if so, are those contaminants present and what levels?
As far as what Mark Durno, local response coordinator for the U.S. EPA, expects to find, the answer to farmers today was not much.
We don't believe so. Again, all of the monitoring data and sampling that we've done to date on scene doesn't indicate that we have any substantial risk away from the site.
That's the key in this meeting. They're talking about the properties away from the derailment site. The EPA knows there's been contamination on the site, but based on data from them, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and others, they say there's been no sign of livestock or crops being impacted this far, and hoping further testing will prove their hypothesis.
You do want to make sure that your product is safe because of possible contamination. And it seems like they're claiming that everything's okay. I really want to see the tests. I would really like to see more than one place do the test.
The EPA is expecting the first data from these tests to come back in under 2 weeks and say they will post it for the public to see.
As the animals get into spring, they're eating this new growth of legumes, and the cattle are out there eating the pastures, and as the grass is green, we want to make sure that it continues to stay safe.
In Salem, Emma Henderson, 3 News.
So this all goes hand in hand with one of my original points when I started covering this story. That this is a situation that will affect tons of people all across the country. You could be sitting in California, down in Florida, out in Washington. It doesn't matter where you're at. There's a possibility that you will be directly or indirectly affected by all of this. It looks to me like, I don't know how these tests are going to go, but more than likely, crops are still going to be coming out of these areas. Vegetables will be transported all across America that were grown in this toxic soil. The livestock that is out there drinking the water that is contaminated, eating the grass that is contaminated, walking, sleeping, living their lives on the soil that is contaminated. And then they're going to butcher those animals, and that meat's going to travel to a grocery store near you. The vegetables will be in a grocery store near you. And the bottled water from right down the road from East Palestine will be at a grocery store near you. That's the reality of this situation. And to make it matters even worse, we already know this. You watching this video, you have been informed, right? I've done everything that I possibly can to inform my audience and to inform anyone who watches these videos about what's going on. The worst part is, 2-3 weeks, month or two from now, most of you all watching this video will have completely forgotten about the situation. Or at the very least, it'll be somewhere in the back of your mind. You won't even be thinking of it. And you'll go and you'll pick up your steaks from the local grocery store. You'll go and get your bottled water from the local supermarket. You'll pick up your vegetables while you're there as well. And you won't even think in the back of your mind that, hey, I could be eating and drinking some of this stuff from East Palestine, Ohio. That's how all of this stuff works. You have these catastrophes get memory hold, and then people feel the effects of these catastrophes for years afterwards, and they don't understand why. So it's a scary situation. I'm glad that these farmers are coming together to try to find some answers. There were farmers from East Palestine. There are farmers from Pennsylvania, all over, coming to get answers. And I would hope that they get the truth. You want to be positive and think that they're going to get the truth. But when you look at the overall situation, we haven't really been told the truth about anything. And now you expect me, or better yet, you expect those farmers to believe your test results and believe what you have to say after all of this stuff that has happened. It's like you basically nuked your credibility, and now you're wondering why people don't trust you. That's what the EPA has done. You've ruined your credibility every time you get involved in one of these situations. You lie, you cover things up, and then when people don't trust you during the next catastrophe, you wonder why. Well, here's why. Let me know your thoughts, though, down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, ring that notification bell. And I'll talk to you all in the next video.